Sukhi Hotu. May you be well and happy. Take a long, deep in-breath and release it gently. And relax and let the natural breath to occur. Breath is one of the most important vital functions in our life. Breath is a very important function that connects our body and mind. Breath is an indicator of the status of our body and mind. By watching our breath, we can tell whether we are tired or not, whether we are excited or not. Breath can also tell us whether we are sad or happy, whether we are anxious or peaceful, whether we are stressed or not. Because we have different breath patterns related to different status of our body and the status of our mind. You know that when you are stressed, how your breath is. And when you are anxious, how short your breath can be. So breath is a good indicator for us to understand ourselves. So if you really want to know how do you really feel, what is the status of your body, or what is the state of your mind, come to your breath. Closely watch it. It can tell you. Sometimes we may not be aware of our actual bodily and mental conditions. So breath can tell us. It's a good indicator. So it can help us to decide what to do, because it's a nice indicator telling us this is your current nature, current situation. But breath is not only indicator. Fortunately, it's also a tool that we can use to change whatever status of our body and mind. Let's say you realize that your breath is very short. You realize that you are anxious. So that is the status of your mind and body right there. And then you can use the same breath to change that situation. So breath is not only indicator, but it's also a tool that we can change the pattern of the breath and can influence our body and mind. How lucky we are. So we have this wonderful function that is available to us. We can purposely change it and then change the body and mind. While the breath can help us to understand how do we feel, but at the same time we can use the breath as a tool to change the way we feel. In fact, the breath is the only autonomic function that we can have some control. We may not necessarily be able to control our heart rate, maybe our digestion, but we can control our breath if we want. But actually, even we can change the rate of our breathing, not directly. So we can also change the rate of our heartbeat, but not directly. By changing the way we breathe, by purposely taking long, deep in-breaths, we can eventually change the rate of our heartbeat too. So this is a very important tool that we can use. So remember that we have this important tool that we can use, particularly by changing the breath in moments of anxiety and stress. By purpose lengthening our breath and experiencing long, deep in-breath can change the way we feel at that moment. Imagine that you have to give a talk, a presentation in front of a large audience. Or maybe you are going to have an important meeting with a powerful person. And then before you go there, make sure to evaluate how do you feel. How do you do that? Watch your breath and closely watch how you are breathing. And that can tell you whether you're anxious or whether you're stressed or not. If you identify your breath is short, is shallow, you know your mind is not in a good state. And what you can do, just before you give your talk or presentation, just before your meeting, take a minute and take few long, deep in-breath. Take a whole breath, fill your lungs with the fresh air. Feel it in your lungs, in your stomach, and release it. Slowly, feeling all that tension melting away. And take few long, deep in-breaths, and then you are back to normal. So you can go and do your presentation, or you can have your meeting with clear mind. So breath is a very important tool to clear your mind and bring your mind to a normal level. Lastly, breath is also the entry point, according to Buddhism, to develop our insight, our deeper understanding about our life itself. The Buddha has used the breath as an entry point to contemplate the nature of life. So breath is also a tool for insight. So when you learn to pay attention to your breath, you can use your breath as a good object of contemplation to understand the nature of your body, nature of your feelings, nature of your mind and mental states. And breath also has the pattern that is universal to everything else. What we feel here, we breathe in and we breathe out. It is like rising and passing away, originating, coming to be, and then ceasing to be. That is the nature of everything in the world. Everyone, everything is arising and passing away. So that very universal pattern is the pattern of our breath. When you closely watch that pattern of the breath and understand how each breath constructs our body is not a solid thing. It's a process. It is an organism. It's a moving thing. It changes all the time. The body that I'm having now is not the same body the next moment. My breath has changed my body. So when you pay attention to your breath, you closely feel when you are breathing in, you are taking a new particle of air, oxygen, and then it renews your body and you release the different other particles of air and your body is already being renewed and changed. So you realize that your body is in a constant change, in a movement, and that very pattern of the breathing is also the same pattern in everything else. When you realize that what is the world, anything that exists in the world has this pattern of arising and passing away. Nothing exists forever. Nothing exists even for a moment, actually. What we see as existing is how we perceive it, but what is there is arising or passing away. So flower, for example, is either blooming or fading away. There's no one single moment that the flower exists static. It's either blooming or fading away. That is the nature of the universe. You can directly experience the true nature of the universe by paying close attention to your breath. That develops your deeper insight about life, about the world. When you have that deep understanding that everything is arising and passing away, we will neither attach and hold into things, nor we will hate things, because there's nothing to hold into and there's nothing to hate for. So we can live in equanimity. So use your breath to heal yourself and develop your deeper understanding, insight about life itself.